If that means what I think it means, we're in trouble. Big trouble.
Bye, 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 bye.
Welcome back to Cryptowise. My name is Marvin, and we have our friend Milty, who's in the house as well. Milty, you there?
I'm here now. Thanks for letting me in, Marv.
Yeah,
Hello,
of course.
Cryptowisers. It's nice to be back live. It's been a really long time since we did a live show, so this is fun.
It has been a long time, and I think, are we bad luck? Because the market is kind of dumping as we speak here, Milt. I don't know what's going on. The coolers are in the house, but we're seeing a big red wick right now. Big red.
I don't mind a little cool off right now, to be honest, because there's some coins that I don't have any bags of that I'd love a little pullback. Nothing too major, but a little pullback to get a little bag of a few things.
Yeah, me too. Although, you know, I'm a degenerate gambler. I went live on the weekend, or on Friday, was it, with some of my long trades there. I did pretty well on those, but I wasn't anticipating a dip of the significance this morning. So,
yeah, we used to see this a lot where Sundays you could kind of get a consistent dip on Sundays, and that was through the last kind of bull run, right? Like those kind of bull months when things were all heated up, overheating. We saw some Sunday corrections that you could kind of count on. So hopefully that's what's going on here. Hopefully we're just, I think, moving into a few months of bullishness. Obviously the last few weeks have been on fire. So maybe Sunday's going to go back to being the little dip day.
yeah, I think so. You might be right. It's usually a bloody Sunday, but that's the thing. Today, guys, we are talking altcoins. We're talking about the market. We're talking about what's next, where Milty and myself think money should be allocated now during this run, where we think what's next to come. We've seen a lot of movement in the market the past few weeks. Milt, we're talking about some of the coins that have hit new all-time highs already in the second part of the bull cycle this year. Cardano being one of those where prices hit all-time highs. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but they went even further. They just keep going and going and going. Oops, that's 8x. Milt, what's your thought on this?
Well, my thought is that it's all the bags that I don't have that have pumped the most. You know, I've never really been heavy on Cardano. People who watch the channel, they know I'm a huge Polkadot fan, and Polkadot's kind of been lagging. I'm going to talk about that later in the episode, a bit about my strategy around Polkadot and the other things. But because Polkadot's been lagging a bit, we've seen all the layer ones. I don't count Polkadot as a layer one. People like to put Polkadot as a layer one. It is a layer 0. So it's in its own category for me. But the competitors of the Solanas, the Cardanos, Luna, and even Phantom, even some of these other layer 1 solutions have been going crazy, and I don't really own any of them. So that's been a little bit sad to see all these other bags hit all-time highs. But I think that we're only at the beginning. So I'd love to own out of the Cardano, Solana, Luna. I would love to own Solana, but I missed the boat on that. You and I have talked about this. I had a bunch of limit buy orders in for Solana that never hit. And this was when it was still in the 20s. And I'm so sad that none of those hit, because then it just took off. And now obviously we see it around 75, 80-ish now.
Yeah, I've got the chart open here, Milt. We are seeing Solana absolutely roar and tear on an upward. I mean, look at this chart here. I think you started saying that what were your limit orders set at? What was the
in 30s? The 20s?
20s.
No, in the 20s, yeah.
So back, not even that far back,
I literally missed a couple. I literally missed a couple of limit orders by a few cents. So this is, I don't know what sort of lesson to take from that, I guess the lesson is don't cheap out when you feel like a bag is good. If you really want that project, don't let a couple of cents get you in. I'm someone who kind of puts the limit orders out there.
Right.
I set the price. I feel like, okay, at this price, I'm going to want to buy in. I'll just leave it there for a while, just assuming that it's going to hit. Usually it does end up hitting that limit order for me, and I get the better price that I've been looking for. But now in this case, I wasn't really ready for the market to just kind of take off as fast as it did, especially with a couple of these projects. Fido RR in the comments also mentioned Avalanche, and they are right. Avalanche is another one that has really taken off.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah,
I think
AVAX
number
one.
Number one in the last 7 days, I believe, of the top
Look at
100.
that. Look at that.
Top 300.
Look at this. Absolutely insanity here on Avalanche. And I mean, people were talking about this is one that hurt as well. Solana hurt, Avalanche hurt. I've longed ADA a couple times, so I'm not unhappy about that. I wish I had some in my spot positions. But definitely looking at Solana and Avalanche, it hurts. But okay, Milt, looking at Solana right now, here's the thing. I still think that Solana, I think, has got a ton of opportunity. It's a huge project, but I'm not aping in right now. I know guys that are aping into it. They were aping in it all the way to $80. What are your thoughts? Like, should people just be aping into Solana now? Are they going to miss the boat again? Or, I mean, what do you think?
For me, my strategy is I'm moving on. I feel like I do think there's higher upside there, especially if this kind of mini bull run that we're on. And if this is the second leg of a major bull run, then I do think it's got a lot more upside. But I think there's so many other projects out there that haven't had the recent push yet that I'm going to be targeting more
like Polkadot.
Tokens, like Polkadot. I'm going to be targeting more those ones that I don't think have run yet. And then, on some of the smaller caps, if some of my small caps hit, then I could take some profit from there and then maybe get a bag of Solana,
right?
Using some of my profit. Or I just wait for the next major dip in the market and then buy in then, and the dip might come back down to the 70, 80 or whatever. But I'd rather buy it coming down from a dip than when it's running up like this.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Polkadot chart right now. There isn't much resistance left in this level. If it can get past the 31 range, I mean, it's all the way up into the 40s from that point. And so Polkadot has lagged behind, as of others. We saw Kusama absolutely go nuts the last few days. It's come down quite a bit now, but we were watching it at like 267, 270, actually even lower a week prior, and then it jumped all the way up over 340. And I think that was due to the parachain announcement of the next parachain coming in early September, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm way more of a fundamentals guy than a TA guy. I mean, I like the TA stuff. I like the charts. I think they do tell a story. But for me, I think Polkadot is going to lag for the next couple of months until their fundamentals, until people understand kind of in a tangible way what is being built over there. I think right now people just don't quite get it. We haven't really seen, the closest thing we've seen to a proper launch is Karura. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Karura.
Which is the Akala Canary network built on Kusama. They've launched, but even in their decks, which, you can trade only Kusama and Karura, I believe, still at that moment. So it's so early on Polkadot. So I think we're going to see the next 5 parachains on Kusama in September. Then we're going to see Polkadot come, probably October, November. So I do think my strategy, I'm all in on Polkadot. I'm going to be putting a lot of money in the Polkadot ecosystem. And I think for the next couple of months, I think it could still lag behind. I think there are things that are probably going to outperform it in the next couple of months. But I think in the next 6 months, I think there's going to come a time where Polkadot and the Polkadot projects just outpace the whole crypto market and start catching up. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think DOT's going to actually have, in terms of price action, I do think that DOT is not that, it's not going to be 6 months. I think it's going to be a few weeks, and DOT will have another massive leg up to catch up to some of these. But long term, I agree with you completely. Talking about parachains, Kilt is a project we've talked about in the past. Do you think that Kilt is one of the next to get the Kusama parachain?
I think Kilt is the next.
Yes.
I think in this next round, so we saw the first 5 happen, and in that first 5, Akala with the Kurera, that was by far number 1. They kind of killed everyone else, and they got that first slot. I think in this next wave, Kilt is going to be the Akala. And the thing I love what Kilt is doing, which we haven't seen this yet, is they aren't creating a whole separate project for Kusama. So the Kilt token, there's only one token. So Akala, when they launch on Polkadot, they're going to be Akala on Polkadot and Kurura on Kusama, and they have 2 separate tokens. Kilt is going to launch on Kusama with the Kilt token, and then they're going to launch on Polkadot with the same Kilt token. So I think actually I think that model is so huge for Kilt token holders to just have that one token on both networks.
Right.
And we haven't seen that yet. All the Kusama parachains so far have had their kind of their Kusama project, and they're waiting to launch their main token on Polkadot. So I think Kilt is going to be a beast. I think they're definitely going to get this next parachain. And then it'll be interesting to see who get the next 4 after Kilt.
Yeah, super excited for Kilt. Super excited for Kilt and for the entire ecosystem to see what's coming next. Now, talking about that, so the parachains are coming. DOT has lagged behind, we believe, Kusama, and there are others. Link is another one that I think is absolutely lagged behind. It was, people, we forget, right? We forget the beginning of this bull cycle. Milt, what coin went parabolic before anything else, before Bitcoin, before anything else? It was Link. And we forget that.
Before DeFi, right? We had
That's
the DeFi summer last summer, but right before that DeFi summer started taking off, it was Chainlink. That really was, Chainlink started waking up, and that's when I thought, ooh, something is happening here. I remember Chainlink getting to $5. I don't know if you can find on the chart where it went basically to $5 for the first time. It would have been around last May or June or something. But it led.
Yeah, I'm on the one. Yeah, I'll get it.
It really did lead this bull market that we've been in since then. So Chainlink is one of my top buys right now. I think it's underperformed. I think it's one of the most proven projects in crypto, bar none. It still is innovating.
Back in October, we had it here at $7, but I do remember it going.
But that was the fall, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even before that, it went from basically like nothing to $5.
Yeah.
And then it came back down, and then it went up to
May it was in the $3. I mean, you could go for $3. I do remember that when we watched that absolutely go nuts, and we were pissed off. I mean, I had the same feelings about Link then that I do Solana now, looking at it, and Luna. I mean, Luna has been another one that we don't really talk much about on this channel, but it also went absolutely parabolic in this last little run here. Have you been watching Luna at all?
Oh, yeah, of course. I've been watching. It's been doing amazing. Another bag I don't have.
Yeah, I know.
Which makes me a bit sad. But yeah, for me, I think Chainlink might be my number 1 buy right now in terms of blue chip, no-brainer tokens that I think are a must-own for everyone, who I think will perform. If the market stays hot, I think it outperform the market in the next month or so. Where would you put it on your list?
It's definitely in the top. It's definitely in the top of my list, as well as one of the biggest underperformers that has a ton of room up. I mean, there is some resistance left in this range all the way till about $34, and then its last all-time high, Milt, was $53, and we're currently looking at it still about half of that. It's at 27.47 right now as we speak. And so, yeah, I see that as having some parabolic upward momentum still left in it. Definitely. I think it's going to break its last all-time highs in the cycle. So it's one that's lagged behind. Obviously, I'm super bullish on DOT. I do think that the narrative is going to slightly shift. I mean, we've by the way, we've got a lot of content coming, guys, on gaming and NFT space. Axie Infinity is one we didn't mention yet today. That's another one that's gone parabolic in the gaming space. Milt, that whole gaming sector, which we're going to be covering a lot, has a ton of room, a ton of potential, and we're seeing that now, like we were seeing DeFi before earlier in the beginning of this bull. But so that said, I do think DEXs are probably the next major narrative to move in this cycle. I think things like Uniswap and SushiSwap and PDEX and PokeSwap and there's other ones, QuickSwap and others that I think are probably the next segment to really move. Link would go into that category for me, but yeah, the DEXs I think are probably what we're going to see move next here in the short term.
I actually have one of my top buys right now is a DEX. It's a smaller one. It's I'm not going to say what it is now. I'll share it later in the show, but it's on my top radar for buys. I already own a bag of it. I've done a video on it.
I think I mentioned it just there. I think I just mentioned it.
No, you didn't.
What?
No, you didn't.
What?
But yeah, you weren't into this one. I don't think so. I think you probably.
So wait, you're not talking about PokeSwap?
Nope, not talking about PokeSwap.
Wow.
Although I do want to talk about PokeSwap in the episode. So I think the magic number for me when I'm looking at the blue chippers that haven't moved is 50% from all-time high.
Yeah.
You just said that about
That's right.
Chainlink.
Same with DOT.
Same with DOT. There's a bunch of others. So we've seen, Luna, Cardano, all these ones, Solana at all-time highs and now finding new all-time highs. It feels like the laggers, that good ratio to look at is, are they still about 50% from their all-time high?
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of really good ones that still are.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's very simple. You just look at the chart, you look at their last all-time high, you take a look at where they're at now, and there's still quite a few of them, right? It's surprising. I know that things like SushiSwap, they and they're innovating. They've had a lot of time to continue to innovate and build. SushiSwap's currently at $13. I think it's actually SushiSwap's further ahead than some, but its all-time high was $23, so it's in that range. But I know they're coming out with a NFT marketplace. They've got a bunch of things happening. I think Uniswap has underperformed so far in this as well. But yeah, I'm with you. That 50% marker is a smart kind of indicator as to who's lagged behind. Filecoin's another one that we don't talk a lot about on this channel, but it has also lagged behind pretty dramatically. It tends to be one of those projects that does. If you remember the beginning of the last or the beginning of this bull cycle, I mean, DOT was way behind, and then it had this parabolic shift where it literally just went up and up all the way. I think, this is showing 180, but its all-time high was $236. And right now it's sitting at $76, right? So,
I like Filecoin too, as a blue chipper that hasn't quite had a run yet, a second run here.
Yeah. And so it's interesting, right? Because the narrative shifts. And I think the next part is, so we still have a number of blue chippers left that are behind, but after that, what do you suspect is going to take place in the market after the blue chippers catch up?
Well, then of course you think we're getting into the the smaller alts, and that's where a lot of money can be made in the that's where you get to see some 10x's, some 20x's. There's going to be some surprises, so you want to try to hit on them. Again, my personal strategy, just because I believe in Polkadot so much, is going to be looking at some of these smaller projects on Polkadot. Even though I think there might be a longer term wait for me on some of those, I just really think it's under the radar. And so that's, I'm doing a lot of looking there. Of course, there's, there's so many places to look now. There's the NFT projects, there's the gaming projects. But in terms of there's so many ecosystems now to follow, over, if you want to share my screen, Marv, I don't know, have you been using DeFi Llama a lot lately?
No, I haven't. This
site is so great. They have really, I used to use DeFi Pulse all the time, and now I find I'm using DeFi Llama more and more and more. They're doing such a great job. But this is really interesting. So they have the total value here locked in all the different chains. So as you can see,
Wow.
this deep purple, that's Ethereum.
Right.
And then you've got some of the other chains here. So it's really actually fascinating to see here. So, as much talk as there is about the Polygons, the Solanas, the other networks, Ethereum has 112 billion value locked on it still. The second most is still Binance, and they have 17 billion. So you have
Wow.
Ethereum at still almost 100 billion more locked into it. So we're still so early for some of these networks that are taking off. So if we look at Luna, they've only got 5 billion locked. Polygon about 5 billion. Solana only 2.5 billion. Of course, they're still new. Solana, you imagine there's going to be a lot of projects coming out very soon.
Can we
Some of
talk
them are
about
launching.
Binance there? So what's the Binance Smart Chain at?
It's second place. It's almost 18 billion locked, but it's, I would say it's up 6% in the last 7 days. So it's still being used a lot. They've got 72 protocols on there already, versus say Luna's only got 6.
Right.
You've got 48 on Polygon. Now, personally, Binance long term, I don't know. Obviously, people who watch the channel know that I was on the Binance Smart Chain really early. I think they've got, they were the user experience is so great in terms of the fees and the transactions. But once you're going to have the Solanas of the world out there, the Polkadots and stuff, once they're out there, I do worry about Binance Smart Chain long term.
Yeah.
But I think it's got legs now. Still, I still have some Pancake Swap. I still have a bunch of stuff locked into
Now
Auto Farm.
there were yeah, I love Auto Farm. There were a bunch, there's been a ton of compromise project as well, a lot of hacks on the Binance Smart Chain. Now here's my thought though, okay? So I agree, Binance Smart Chain is kind of making a comeback right now. At the same time, there's a lot coming out to come and compete in that space. They timed it well in this bull cycle at the beginning of it. It was very well timed. They got it out. But at the same time, Milt, we've got Binance itself is struggling around the world because of compliance issues, right? And so I've used Binance. I know you've used Binance for a long time. And I've actually taken the majority of my assets out of Binance because of the compliance regulatory concerns and what that may leave for us. And so there's a lot of people kind of thinking the same thing, like, is my money safe in Binance where I live? Are they going to shut us down if they haven't already? Right. So that's kind of a big scare. And I think it kind of puts a cloud around BNB or the Binance Smart Chain as well, because it's leaving a big gap and a big opening for new exchanges and new platforms. And I think this is probably why DEXs are going to be fueled even further in this run, because with these compliance regulatory things happening, a lot of money is going to shift out of things like Binance and come into some of the newer projects, right? Like PokeSwap, PDEX, some of the ones we talked about, Sushi. FTX, Milt, is a platform that I've started using that I absolutely love. And I think Sam, the founder of this, is absolutely brilliant. And the FTT token I've picked up a bag of, guys. And I'm also longing this position for a while. I showed it on Friday when I was showing my positions. I think FTX is on its way over $100, and I think the exchange world, it's going to take a big chunk. I think FTX probably, Milt, is going to be is going to overtake Binance to a large degree. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Binance right now as an exchange?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I took most of my. I don't hold anything on Binance. I still use it to trade. I don't really hold any big positions on there though, other than my trade. What I have to trade on there. I used to hold a lot of DOT on Binance.
Yeah, because you got good yield, right? You were getting.
Yeah, because you can stake it there, and it was easy to use. But I've since taken all of my DOT off of Binance, and now I use other things, and we could talk a little bit
Where's your
later.
DOT now? Because I did see a comment about. I'm wondering, are you using Fearless? What are you using?
Yeah, so I use Fearless a lot, but also we had this question. This ties into one of the questions we had on Twitter. Someone asked, if you want to pull up my screen here, Marv. Yeah, so can we trust for a long term in solutions like Nexo, Celsius, Yield App, and Orbit, and more? And so out of those, I haven't looked into all of them, but obviously we're huge fans of Celsius on the channel.
Absolutely.
That so I moved some of my DOT to Celsius.
Okay.
And to answer that person's question, Celsius is the one I trust the most. If people watch the channel, they know that we recently put out an interview with Alex Mazinski, the CEO of Celsius. It's a great conversation. Have it here. Now, I'm not, in terms of Celsius, they've grown so much. Like, I was one of the early users of it. And at that point, I was pretty scared to keep a lot of crypto on there because I was worried, they could fold as a company, or I just didn't trust them. Now I don't worry about trusting them or folding. There's still a lot of risk because obviously you're lending out your crypto through them. And so the risk really with them, in my opinion, is if they get hacked, or because they lend out your crypto to other people, if those people default or something, there's risk there. But in terms of, will Celsius kind of rug pull, or are they going to disappear? I have no concerns about that anymore with it. They've just grown so much and built up trust with me over, I've been using them for more than a few years now. So I got a bunch of DOT there, but then yes, Fearless Wallet, which is a project from Sora. The people who brought us PokeSwap. If I just bring up Fearless Wallet here, let's see. I actually mentioned it in my video yesterday, I think, or the video I made on Umi recently. So this is my actual favorite wallet for Polkadot. It's only a mobile wallet, but I have a bunch of DOT on here that you can easily stake. You can create a Kusama wallet too. And talking about the parachains coming up, you can very easily lend out as part of the crowd loan. So say you wanted to be part of the Kilt crowd loan for Kusama, you can easily do that on the Fearless wallet as well. So yeah, I've been taking a lot of stuff off of Binance as well, but still use it to trade. But I agree with you. I have to say, I definitely agree that FTT is now has to be considered a blue chip crypto.
Yeah,
I think it's probably got the bigger upside than the Binance coin now.
I've actually, Mel, sorry to interrupt. I've added a referral link for you guys. If you're interested in checking out FTX, check it out. That they don't sponsor this station, and we're not getting paid by them in any way. But I have added a referral link. If you do want to try it out, I highly recommend it. I just wanted to let people know because some people are asking, how do we get into FTX? So I put the referral link in this video there, Milt, for people.
Yeah, that's great. And also, if people aren't on Celsius, I think our referral link should be in there somewhere too, and just to know the difference in terms of the DOT, what you get. So Celsius does take a cut of your DOT, but you still get 8.86% on DOT right now, I think, which is pretty great.
I'm using it. I've got most of my DOT in Cell.
On Fearless, I think I'm getting about 14%. So there is a bit of a difference there, but Fearless is you're controlling your own crypto. It doesn't have the same security measures as Celsius. So I would say if you're newer to crypto, it'd be easier to use Celsius. But if you're someone who is used to having your own wallets and things like that, Fearless is pretty great too, and you get the higher yield on Fearless.
Yeah, that's good. Listen, guys, smash the like button. There's a lot of you in here. Thanks for joining us here at Cryptowise. Please do us a huge favor. Smash the like button. If you're not a subscriber, we'd love to have you part of the Cryptowise community. So subscribe to the channel. We've got an amazing community. Milt, I do want to just give an update. So my positions as of my last stream have changed. I do have 3 positions left open. I closed my ADA position quite well. As I mentioned in my last stream, I am talking about FTT. I have a long position on FTT that I'm keeping there. My goal for FTT is $100 before I start taking profit on that bad boy. But you can see I'm also super bullish on DEX's coming. I'm a little early on this, but I've got Sushi here. I'm down quite a bit, and I've got Polkadot long melt where I'm down over $18,000. I aped back into DOT last night, apparently at the wrong time. But I'm going to keep that one open as well because I think DOT is going to break out in the next week or two, and so I'm going to hold tight as long as I can in DOT to try to catch that breakout. Obviously, I still have a very large spot position on DOT, and that I will not touch for years to come. But in the short term, I do want to make some additional cash on the breakout if it does take place. So I am using some leverage. I don't recommend, guys, that you use leverage trading. And if you do, if you're experienced, obviously all the power to you. If you're new to futures trading, be very, very careful. My max leverage that I use is actually around 10%. I know you're seeing it at 20 here, but that's just how FTX works. But my average actually on this is only 3.4 x, in terms of leverage. So be very careful on leverage trading. Not something I'm promoting, but I do like that. I like to be transparent, Milt, with the crew, with the Cryptowise community, kind of show them some of the things that we're doing in the background.
For sure. I mean, that's the whole point of the channel, is for us to share what we're talking about, what we're researching. We're just guys who are super into crypto. And so we started the channel to be able to have a platform here to tell people. So being transparent is definitely all about it. We've got nothing to hide. So yeah, Marvin's been doing the trading. I've dipped my toe in a little bit, but I use way less capital than Marv does. But I'm curious from the audience. We've been experimenting with a ton of different videos on the channel. We've been doing the Cryptowise chats, which are long form interviews with some of the great minds in crypto. We obviously do the altcoin videos where we kind of do a deep dive look at different altcoins. And then Marv, you were experimenting with the live stream of your trading. I just want to hear from the audience, like, what out of the content that we produce, what is your favorite? What do you want to see more of? What's not resonating with you so much? Let us know, give us feedback, because that way we can really shape the channel to produce more of the content you love and less of the content you don't love so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, let us know for sure. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat here if you do like the trading type video styles, the TA type styles. If you can see the charts right now, I'm actually using Market Cipher for indicators. We're not a partner with them. I don't have an affiliate link for them yet, unfortunately, guys, but I will probably do one for you soon. But yeah, let us know. I agree with Milt. Important to let us know. I think, Milt, it was funny when I did that stream on Friday for my live trading. One of the things most people were enjoying the most was the music. And so they were coming in and saying, listen, you got me on clickbait, but I'm staying for the music. So I thought that was actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah, and then you almost got us kicked off YouTube.
Well, I did get us kicked off temporarily. Well, I got the stream kicked off because, I wasn't using appropriate music for a live show, but I fixed that. I fixed that pretty quick. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And so I think, guys, get some questions ready for us as well, because we do want to talk about some of the some smaller cap alts that are coming. If you have questions around some of the projects, put them in the chat, and we'll be happy to try to answer them if we've got time. Now, so Milt, we talked a lot. Get ready for this, because we talked a lot about kind of what's coming next in the larger alts and those blue chippers. Are there projects that are in the small cap alt space, the higher risk space? Of course, you always have to be cautious, guys, when you're dealing with small cap or medium cap alts, that it's a much higher risk play, because one of the most important things, I think, Milt, for anyone investing in any sort of position is, are you investing in a project that can withstand the volatility of a bear cycle? And can you survive through that? And I think that's a really important thing to always keep in mind when you're investing in a project. But the small cap alts, Milt, is there any that you're looking at right now? I know you just did an awesome video on a couple of new gems that are coming out. I highly recommend you guys go and watch those if you haven't already. The last one was on a project that just did an ILO called UMI. And I actually covered it on Friday too a bit there, Milt. What are you looking at? Do you have anything on the radar that you're looking at that you think is going to be one of the next or the first to pump in the small cap space that maybe hasn't already?
Yeah, I have been looking at, in terms of my high risk stuff, people can probably, the last few videos that I put out, UMI is a project being built on Sora, and it's an NFT project being built on Sora and Ethereum. It's got a long way to go. But I love the potential of that. That's a very high risk project that I like. And there are a few other videos that I made recently. People who listen to us know that we're both big on Elixir.
Yeah.
Lix, which had a really rough.
It's been, let's just talk about that. Elixir is, it's been pretty rough for Lix, right? They had, in all fairness, they've had a shitty launch, which is pretty common. I mean, we've seen it with PSwap had a shitty launch. Lix was under a lot of pressure. They've got a big community, and it got hurt. It got hurt on its launch. Since its launch, price discovery has been interesting to say the least. But they are working on a ton of stuff, right? You did a great video on it, by the way. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to do the video and kind of get myself acquainted with what had been going on since the launch, because I really believe in the idea of it. And obviously, it's a great idea because you're seeing a lot of different new projects try to do what Elixir's doing. So my concern is that they're allowing competitors to kind of catch up to them. That's one concern that I have. But I believe in the dev team behind Elixir. I know that they're working towards a new front end, which I think they need, because the front end, it definitely leaves a lot to be desired in terms of kind of more marketing and publicity and things like that. They need to kind of really kind of gain trust back because the launch did not go as well as planned.
Right.
But in terms of what they're in terms of the utility of what they're building, I think they're the best team and project doing what they're doing out of the competitors. When I look at them and their competitors, I like Elixir the best by far. And I know that they're working really hard behind the scenes. So I expect in the next month or so to see things improve for Elixir. And yeah, so I still believe in it. Obviously, I got in at higher prices, and so it's been disappointing to see the price action so far. But I think Uniswap is still here for the long run. I think people don't quite get Uniswap version 3 yet. And once they understand, I think if Elixir can do a better job communicating to people, just that if you add liquidity through Elixir versus just putting it straight on Uniswap version 3, you will get much higher return for your capital. So that to me is a very easy sell. If they can communicate that, build out their pools, get a much sexier front end going, then I think Lix has a bright future.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, because I think one of the things that people fail to remember is that projects take time, right? It came out, but it's still such early days for a project like Elixir. We have to have patience. Everyone wants to make a fortune, and they want to make a fortune like now. And I get it. I'm one of them. I'm a degenerate too. But you also have to give projects time, right? And if it's a real project with a great team and they're building a product that has a lot of value, then give them time. I think a lot of us are very impatient. And I think it comes down to that simply with projects like Lix. It's a high risk project. It's very new, but I agree. This space is a big space. Now people also put their heads down on this because the yields aren't kind of what you're used to on some of the other platforms, but it's not the same, right, Milt? This is more about liquidity aggregating versus some of the other platforms.
Right. So this isn't, so this is an important distinction. So this isn't yield farming, although they're going to add farming for the Lix token. So to incentivize people to start using Lix, you're going to be able to gain extra yield in the Lix token soon in these pools. And that will be a big improvement. But when you're looking at these APYs, that's from the fees. So what I do, it's one of the things I like to do, add liquidity to Uniswap and some of these other dexes. You're not really farming yield on the dexes directly. You're just getting part of the fees from that pool. So if you look at USDC, USDT, there's no impermanent loss in that pool. So that's just the fees. And so you're getting 4%. Can you get more elsewhere? Sure. But I like to diversify. I like to have some on Celsius. I like to add liquidity in the pools. I like to spread out, especially my stable coins, across as many platforms as possible in case something happens to any of them. So with the USDC, USDT pool, you're getting 4% right now. And I would say what they need to add, and if Elixir is listening, one of the things, a major thing they need to add or show somewhere is what you would get if you put it just on Uniswap and what you're getting on licks. Because if you're getting almost 5% on licks, then you're probably only getting 3.5 or something on Uniswap. That's the beautiful thing about licks. So they need to show that. They need to show the difference. What would I get if I just put it on a Uniswap versus what if I get if I put it on licks?
Yeah. And
But
I
you
think they're
mentioned
working
something
on
there,
that.
Marv. Yeah, and they're working on that. They're working on that. I have no doubt that they're working and it's going to keep improving. But this, you brought up a bigger point, which I think is interesting to talk about. And the two projects that both of them came up today, Lix is being one and PokeSwap is the other one.
Yeah.
And I have PokeSwap up here. Obviously, I've talked about PokeSwap a lot on the channel. I love Sora. I mean, we did the long interview with Makoto. It's the different philosophies these projects have. So on one hand, you have Lixer, which one of the mistakes I think Lixer made, and this goes to your point, Marvin, how hard it is to build these projects. And actually, people need to have patience because this stuff is not easy. Developing these projects is not easy.
Right.
One of the things Lixer, I think they just overpromised in terms of when they were going to launch. Timing of it. And they really, that was their biggest mistake.
They set expectations.
They set expectations and they didn't live up to those expectations. So that's one way of going, which I think is the wrong way. And then you got the PokeSwap. Makoto is not hyping. Okay. If you watch our video, this guy does not do any hype, no marketing. But if you've been using PokeSwap since their launch, and they had a terrible launch too.
Right.
They've been improving steadily. And if I showed this in my last video, but you have dark mode now that they've added. Cirrus, another Sora project, added the fiat currency listing here. The bridge, you can bridge over from Ethereum, works very smooth now. I've had no problems with it. When it first launched, that wasn't really working properly. The reward section that figures out your rewards for adding liquidity works really well. In terms of the front end of PokeSwap, to me, it's one of the best DEXs out there. So in terms of what are people promising and are they hitting those expectations? To me, that's the biggest deal, because the truth is all these projects are going to take a lot of time. Uniswap, when it first launched, was awful. And it wasn't until version 2 that it kind of took off, and that was over a year. Yeah. So right. I think that is a big point. And then, but when you're investing, and we've got the Telegram group, and they're chatting. We've got our Twitter. You got crypto Twitter. Everyone is chatting. Everyone wants those immediate results. That's just not realistic. You have to, in my opinion, you can take a bit of your investment for the things you think are going to pump quickly because they got a bit of hype or things are going on. But I would put most of your investment in the projects that you just think long-term are building something real. Yeah. And not worry if it takes a little bit longer for the price to catch up.
A lot of people, right? And I'm guilty of this sometimes too. We're investing in projects simply for a return. A lot of people don't even know what the hell they're investing in. Let's be frank, right? And so, looking at the PSwap chart itself, right? If you look at it, I mean, price-wise, price discovery is kind of still happening. It's such a fresh project, but it's way down from its current potential, and it hasn't really recovered much yet, right? And so it's kind of flatlined, consolidated since its launch. But that's one of the things. People FOMO'd the hell in expecting massive gains, but they didn't wait for any price discovery to happen. And now that's starting to happen now. And so, I think there's the token and its price action, and then there's the project, right? As a project, PokeSwap is an example of a project doing amazing things that I think, I agree with you, in the long term are going to do really, really well. And as such, the price will likely show for that, right? But in the short terms of some of these projects, you have to wait a little. You have to have patience. If you believe in them, you have to have patience.
Well, this goes back to the other thing about PokeSwap and Sora that you have to remember, and this goes back to this chart right here. Okay, so this is Ethereum. Polkadot's not even on here yet. Polkadot hasn't launched yet. There is a huge barrier to entry. That to me is the biggest problem with PokeSwap right now. There's a very loyal community already that PokeSwap has built up. PokeSwap is launched on the Sora network. It's not even a parachain yet. Doesn't have the parachain connected to Polkadot yet. That's coming. And people aren't used to using the Polkadot wallet yet. You need a Polkadot wallet for PokeSwap.
Yeah, that's right.
That to me is the biggest barrier right now with PokeSwap. I I I think when they're ready, when they get their parachain and they just hook into their parachain, not only are you going to have PokeSwap, that is going to be, I think, one of the best dexes out there. Now you've got Umi building on Sora, you've got Cirrus building on Sora. They're going to have a whole ecosystem with a bunch of dApps right on the Sora blockchain when it parks itself onto that relay chain, and it's going to be better prepared than some of these early parachains that got the parachain but aren't ready to actually launch yet. So that's interesting too.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Now, there's a couple of other projects that have done really, really well in the short term that we haven't talked much about on this channel. Airweave, Milt, is one of these projects. I told you, and I mentioned it on my live, that I picked a bag up of, and it's been doing absolutely phenomenal. It's another data play, and this project's been going absolutely nuts. I know you were pissed off at not getting a bag of Airweave. I still think this project has store data permanently. Airweave enables you to store documents and applications forever, which is really interesting. These guys are doing some amazing things. I heard of them originally being talked about on Crypto Banter, wait. I have a bone to pick with you, Marv,
What?
Because
we talked about this. Okay, Marv says so. Yeah. All right, Cryptowise.
You mentioned no. You mentioned it way back, but you didn't get a bag.
Okay, but I mentioned it way back on one of our live shows. We used to do What's on Our BIDAR. I put Airweave on there. This was before Banter was talking about it. I said Airweave. It was on my BIDAR. You can go back, look at the tape, and then Marv comes out of nowhere. He's like, oh, look, I got this bag of Airweave. I was like, dude, I talked about that was on my BIDAR, and you weren't even listening to me on our own show.
No. Listen, I remember you putting it on your BIDAR, but then, shit hit the fan, Milt. Shit hit the fan. And then of course I'm watching Banter, one of my favorite shows, right? I know you love the Banter.
Yeah, I told you about Banter too.
Okay, whatever. You told me about Banter. And I know you told us about Airweave, and I appreciate that. I should have jumped on it. You should have jumped on your own advice.
I know. Okay,
when you did it. And I'm saying that, so anyways, okay, it got brought back up. Milt was
a blue chipper. It's a blue chipper. Airweave blue chipper. For me, there's
it is now. It wasn't 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago it was 200. It was $200 million market cap.
No, but when I brought it up on my BIDAR, I called it a blue chipper even back then. It's like a file. To me, I put it in the Filecoin category. But it's a utility project that a lot of other blockchains are going to utilize. And so it's helping build out the whole crypto ecosystem. It's a real legit project. It's arrived. If you're looking for a blue chip project, I'd wait for a little pullback just because I don't buy anything on an up like that. But
no, fair enough. But at the same time, this is a good point, right? You compare it to Filecoin, right? You put it in the category of Filecoin. Well, look, Airweave's $1 billion market cap. Filecoin's is $7.5 billion. Oh, by the way, fully diluted, $150 billion market cap. And so if you put Airweave in that category, I mean, it's nothing yet. It's still a little baby, right? It's a baby, fully diluted at 1.8 billion, and you got Filecoin at 150 billion. So yeah, I'm with you, man. And listen, Milt, all the credit to you.
Let me talk. All right, okay. I'm gonna talk about one of my fave projects that is kind of in the same category. Ocean Protocol.
Yes, fantastic.
Okay, I love Ocean Protocol. One of my first videos ever made for the channel, deep dive into Ocean Protocol. And this is definitely, I already have a bag, but I'm thinking of buying more because it's pumped, but it's kind of in that 50% category where it's done really well, but it's still about 50% off from its all-time high. And I have no doubt that it will come back to this all-time high and go up higher. So you've got your Airweave, I've got my Ocean. Okay, we can't all own all of these 11,000.
No, I love Ocean, man. But you know what? I bought a bag of Ocean at 42 cents way back when. And so
I know you did.
I'm with you on Ocean. I have nothing against Ocean whatsoever. There's another project that I just want
we need at some point maybe a Cryptowiser out there can help us. We need a name, a category for what this is. I know that Ocean is in the D data category. It's a data thing, but I also would put it with the Airweaves and the Filecoins, even though they all do different things. They're kind of these like utility protocols or something. To me, they're all in that. And I'd put like Energy Web in there. There's kind of this kind of basket of projects that have great use cases, that are solid, that do different things, but are kind of all utilities for the overall crypto ecosystem, I think. All right, go ahead, Marv.
Yeah, no, listen, I think we need a category. So come on, Wisers, do it. And while you're at it, smash the like button, guys. Really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do need a category for it. I think it's a massive category. And I think the category is still premature. I think, this category, like others, like insurance and some others, are still way before the time, so to speak. And these are going to be absolutely huge later. Like I truly believe that.
Yeah.
And, just talking about projects that I've aped into, another project that I got into recently is the Spell token. It's been doing really well. I think it's still a small cap. It's at a 40 million cap right now, Milt. I told you about it last week. You're like, what the hell is Spell? So we took a look. I have bought some, and it's performing really, really well. I think there's a lot of interesting projects. I wish we had more money to spread around, because I think we're going to see some really positive gains in the small cap space. And now would be a great time to start accumulating some of these projects as we're watching these blue chips take off and recover. In some cases recover, in other cases just go straight to the moon. It's highly likely that the small caps are coming next. And so now would be a great time to start looking at what small caps you want to pick up. And
you want to hear the DEX that you forgot all about? That is one of my big buys right now.
Yeah. What? Tell me, is it Crust?
No. Crust is a different.
Tell me, what is
DEX.
Tell me.
Okay. It's on this list all the way at the bottom. My little SIF chain. I think SIF chain they're ready to actually launch soon. They're gonna, they've been testing the new DEX, and a lot's been going on there.
That's a sleeper.
This is, I've been holding on. I actually added liquidity to SIF chain back in the day when I bought it. I bought it higher up. I bought it at around the 60s, around 60 cents, and it crashed like with the rest of the market. But this whole time I've been at it, I had liquidity in it. So I've been earning more Rowan tokens, which I think has kind of evened it out for me, but they've just started getting traction. They were all the way down at around 11 cents. They're back up over 30, but they're way off their all-time high. There was a ton of hype for SIF chain because the lead developer on SIF chain was the lead developer on Thor chain for a long time. Very similar project to Thor chain, except it will act more like a centralized exchange. You'll be able to do limit orders and things like that on SIF chain, but it's native cross-chain trades. So the way that Thor chain, you can trade Bitcoin, native Bitcoin for native Ethereum, you'll be able to do the same on SIF chain. They're building on Cosmos. So I think in the next couple of weeks to a month, I think SIF chain is going to make a big move. So that's, I would say, it's not a small cap. So the market cap here is about 30 million, fully diluted over 300 million. But I think SIF chain is going to have its time in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Is someone calling in? Is someone calling into the show? Are we doing live calls on the show now?
No, not yet. We're not there yet, but someone is trying to get a hold of me. They're probably watching the show going, should I buy? Should I ape into SIF chain? Should I ape in? Listen, I'll probably get some now, Milt, because when you have a pick and I miss it, I'm pissed. And there were a couple. Swingbee was one of them. Have you looked at Orn lately? Do you remember?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, remember?
No, yeah. Orion Protocol.
Orion,
yeah, I haven't.
yeah.
I actually let go of my Orion bags before the crash, but I need to look back into them because I do really like that project.
It did.
But I don't own.
I mean, it pumped.
I don't own it anymore.
It pumped all the way. You called this one at its bottom, and it pumped all the way up to 29.25. And you were talking about it before anyone was.
Yeah, I really do like Orion.
Yeah, and it's it's making a comeback. It's still 1/3 of where it was, so it's less than 50% comeback on that one. So that's an interesting one to possibly look at as well.
All right, so Amar's been patient here. He wants to know And I know this was a project you were looking at, ERSDL.
Well, hold on a
I
second.
this is honestly a project I've heard a lot about, but I haven't really looked into all that much.
No, I was never looking at this.
Oh, I thought we talked about this a few days ago. I thought you were looking at this one.
No, you're talking about RSR, different project.
Oh,
Yeah, different project.
confusing them.
I was going along on this. I've never heard of this. Unfederal Reserve. Never heard of it. So we'll take a look. I don't really want to go into it on the show here.
Yeah, sorry about that. I thought
No,
this
that's
was
fine.
one that you were looking into. I see this one on Twitter a lot. They've obviously got a passionate community.
Absolutely.
Because I see a lot of people tweeting about it. So it's probably worth us looking into.
And thank you for the super chat, Amar. Really appreciate it. Always appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, guys, and smash the like button. Yeah, we'll take a deeper look into that. I was talking about RSR, so that was the confusion, I think. Milt, you're getting old over there, my friend.
I am getting old. Well, I was old like even before I got into crypto, and now that I'm in crypto ages you like a decade every day, pretty much.
Now,
You know,
BTC,
okay, so
can I just show something real quick, and then you can talk?
Yeah. Go for it.
BTC, guys, we're having a little bit of a sell-off here on BTC. The anticipation and the expectation is BTC is going to break into the 50s. I still think it will. I think we've got some Sunday blood. I do want to show something, though, here, Milt, because on Friday's show, I'm not a TA really, right? I'm not a TA, but I did make a small prediction, and you can see my lines here, right? These two lines here, and I made this prediction as to where BTC was going back in here, okay? And look at what happened. Look at what happened when I made this prediction, and I showed this line as the massive resistance line, and I said we were going to consolidate in here before another breakout, and that's where we're at right now. So BTC is down a bit right now. I think it's a bit of Sunday blood. If you listen, if you paid attention to last Sunday, we had blood in the early hours of Sunday, and we had green all late afternoon and evening on that Sunday. And then we had a very green week. So I'm very optimistic as to what can happen. A small pullback is super healthy, and it gives us opportunities. But I'm still super bullish on what's happening in the market right now, Milt. I'm very, very bullish. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you there.
Oh, no worries. No worries. You can always interrupt, Marv, when you got something good to say. Yeah, I agree. I think we're definitely in a bullish trend here. Trend is your friend. I think we're going to be seeing new all-time highs for Bitcoin in the next couple of months, which is pretty exciting. And it's just going to be interesting to see where it lands this time. We got to 65. What's the next level going to be? Going to be very interesting. I do think we should spend a minute here because someone asked about this on Twitter too, and it's a token we talk a lot about on the channel, Kylan.
Oh, yeah, of course. But this goes exactly, I want you to speak, but this goes exactly back to what we're talking about, patience for good projects that long-term we're super bullish on. Comes down to patience and price discovery.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's kind of live by the sword, die by the sword with some of these projects. So we saw some of these projects launch right in the heat of that bull market, and Kylan was one of them, and went all the way up over $2. You're seeing projects now in the last few months launch, and they're going below pre-sale prices. So part of it is the timing of when these projects launch. But the one thing I have to criticize Kylan about, which is clear, it's become clear over the few months since it launched, whoever they sold these pre-sale tokens to were the worst people to sell the token to. These guys have the word, like they're paper hands, definition of soft paper hands, these guys. And we see it. Okay, so the pre-sale, they get their, I think it's vested monthly because you see a drop. Every month there's a new drop. I think, hopefully, and I tweeted this out, I hope we're near the end of that. I think there might be 1 or 2 more months of the pre-sale people, but hopefully you got to imagine that they sold most of their bags and maybe they're going to hang on to these last.
Not to throw anyone under the bus, but I think Scott Melker had a big bag early days. Did he not?
Well, there was rumor going around on Twitter about that, but I won't get into that. And look, I think projects have to be really careful. I know you got to raise money early and you're going to give people, a deal. I'm all for that. Give people a deal. You and I have been in a few pre-sales. We know what it's like. You get in a bit cheaper, but you're taking higher risk and you're vesting. So it's even a higher risk, but you're hoping as a project that these guys aren't just buying it to sell it right away. And that's what's happened with Kylan. It seems like the other thing is, to me, it goes along with the Polkadot being a bit of a lag to the overall market. Once Kylan gets its parachain, and Polkadot's up and running, I have no concerns over Kylan. Everything they've been doing since launch has been done really, really well. They've built up the team really well. They communicate really well. If you look at their GitHub, they have one of the most active GitHubs. And then also here, this is an important thing. The token holders just keeps growing, growing, and growing, and growing. So they're up over 18,000 individual token holders now. And that's a big deal because I don't think we're going to see those big sell-offs anymore, because you've gotten a small amount of people owned a lot of Kylan, and now that has been spread out because they keep selling every month. People keep buying them. And so we have seen some pretty positive action in the last week or so. To me, it's just the beginning for Kylan, but I think it might be another couple of months for the Polkadot parachains to happen, for them to get their parachain, for people to realize all the work they've been doing. But, Kylan is in the Ocean protocol. It's in the Oracle space. It's in the data space. So
I think it's hit it. I think it's realized its bottom. I agree with you completely. I think that, we had a great interview with the CEO, right? So check that out.
Our very first Cryptowise chat with Dylan Dudney.
Yeah, Dylan.
Dylan, he's not the most excitable guy. So, but he's
awesome. He knows his stuff, man.
He's open. He's honest. I think he's really trying to build something for the long term. He's hired some really great people in the development side. So yeah, I'm down big on my bag so far on Kylan right now, and that's fine. But I'm fine with it because I'm just holding, and people know it's one of my biggest bags.
I actually think right now is a great time to add to the bag of Kylan, to be honest with you, because I think we've realized sort of its price in terms of its bottom. We have a sense of where it is, and as a project, we believe in it, right? So for us, I think long term, Kylan's going to do well. I think it's going to do well. It's going to take time, right? Like you said, Polkadot, the whole ecosystem has been lagged behind, but when the DOT system moves for real, you're going to want to make sure you already have your bags of the DOT projects that you believe in.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That's why I'm going to be building my Polkadot bags over the next month and stuff, and even with knowing that they might not outperform some of these other projects that, in the short term, I think other projects might outperform. But for me, I'm betting on DOT. I'm betting on DOT.
Yeah, so am I. I'm down $21,000 on the day on my long on this bloody thing. But yeah, I agree with you. My spot position on DOT is huge. I'm betting on DOT as well. I think we've made it very, very, very clear how bullish we are on the DOT ecosystem. But now here, Melt, we've been in this for a long time. It's been over an hour. Okay, we're almost at an hour and 8 minutes. We've talked people's ears off. If you haven't, guys, do us a freaking huge favor and smash the like button. Love to see those likes go up a bit. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter, right? Follow us on Twitter. And if you're not in our Telegram group, guys, I don't know what you're waiting for. Join us on Telegram. We've got an amazing community. All the wise guys and girls should be in our Telegram group and should make sure to follow us on Twitter. I've really enjoyed this today, Milt. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add, or are you?
No, it's just good to be back. It's good to hear your voice again, Marv.
It's great to hear your voice, my friend. I've missed all of you guys. I love our Cryptowise community. Melt, we've got some amazing content coming. We've got a lot of content in the pipeline. The channel's growing. We are, guys, if you want to get involved in the Cryptowise community, please reach out to us on Telegram. If you're a web designer, a motion graphics designer, if you're a content guy, if you're a researcher, whatever the hell you are and you want to get involved, don't hesitate to reach out to Milton and myself. We are going to be building out the Cryptowise team, and we're going to do that in a slower kind of fashion, but this channel's growing and we want to help build this. We want to build this team with our community. So, Milt, my friend, I look forward to the next episode of Cryptowise Live with you. It's been real. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you in the Cryptowise community. You guys make us very, very special. Our channel, we are very grateful. Johnny Reed just tuned in. Well, Johnny, we're going to post this video for you guys to watch. So if you missed it, don't worry about it. It's going to be on our YouTube channel very, very soon for you to go back and watch the entire episode. Milty, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Marv. Until next time.
Till next time, guys. Over and out.